Hi, Mark here. It is Wednesday, the 17th of September, just after 11 a.m. Eastern. That's just after 3 p.m. GMT. We're going to have a look at the US dollar and how it's performing. Let's see it in context, though. And that context being that in 3 hours' time at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have the Fed announcement, and that'll certainly have an effect on the US dollar. Expected consensus is a 25 basis points cut, which should see dollar weakness, negative for the dollar and positive for equities. But bear in mind that the market may well have priced that in already, which is the reason we've seen the US dollar so weak, testing these low levels. We've seen dollar weakness against all of the majors based on the fact that the market is expecting a 25 basis point cut. You've got the US dollar index at support at 96.19. We've got intraday resistance at 96.44. Sellers will certainly be looking to test break below that towards the 96 level or lower. Buyers looking up at the 96.44 and up at the 97 resistance. What could cause the market to be extremely volatile and some really sharp moves may well be the unexpected. And when I say the unexpected, the surprise, something like a 50 basis point cut, not that I expect that, that would be very dovish, certainly for the US dollar. Something like no cut at all, always a possibility, very hawkish, meaning US dollar would rally on news like that and equities would uh, be sold off. And let me also say there are two uh, two times here where the market, I believe, will react, which is when the announcement is made, could be a knee-jerk reaction, shoot up or down one way or the other. I'm referring to the US dollar, the index, and the majors, and then return back to where it started. And what could be even more moving than the announcement is the accompanying statement 30 minutes later, where Fed Chairman Powell will talk and explain the decision and look forward to the future. There, again, surprises either way would move the market and have a market effect on the way the market moves. 3 rate cuts for 2025 was consensus, this being the first. We expect the chairman to announce another two or look towards another two this year. Of course, that'll depend on data. Uh, we expect another 3 next year rate cuts. Again, will depend on data. Remember, at this point, there's two factors influencing the decision: inflation and labor. Certainly more emphasis on labor and repairing a weakened labor market is why we're looking at a rate cut right now. Whereas inflation, more emphasis on inflation would make a more hawkish decision. So all of this, whether it's expected and been already priced in, or whether we get something unexpected, would be more drastic for the markets, is what we need to watch for. Weak US dollar going in, a little bit of a fight back today, not much, I think, hang around until the decision. Let's have a look at the majors. Euro US, yesterday, strong euro, buying euro, selling US dollar, resistance 118.78, a really high resistance level. If I scroll back on the daily, you can see how far I'm going back, years since we've seen these record highs. Hang around that level today. A bit of a sell-off. US dollar fighting back slightly. We got resistance, as I said, 118.78. I got support at 118.30. Let's have a look at the pound. less of a fight back from the US here so far. I've got support at 136.30, resistance at 136.71. Those are the levels to watch for. US dollar, further US dollar weakness would look to test this resistance level. A fight back from the US and US dollar strength would be looking down at the 136.30 support. US yen. Here we can see US dollar weakness to start. You got support at 146.20, continuing with the overall dollar weakness. Bit of a fight back. We got resistance has been tested, 146.68, the intraday resistance. If I zoom in on the hourly, you can see we're sitting pretty much in the middle of that range now. Once again, further dollar weakness would be looking down at this 146.20 and lower. A bounce back from the US dollar strength, looking up at the 146.68 resistance level. Let's have a look at the US Canadian. Bank of Canada interest rate decision today. As expected, cut rates by 25 basis points. US dollar strength against the Canadian today. The support level at 137.35 has been tested 3 times. This is the third time yesterday. Canadian buyers, US dollar sellers, unable to close below this level or push lower towards the 137. US dollar strength so far, even following the Bank of Canada rate cut. So we have this 137.35 support. We've got resistance at 137.77. US dollar hang around its weak levels, definitely on the index, hang around that support level. The euro and the pound hang around the resistance level. On the Canadian and the yen, hang around the support level. Those are all extreme levels of dollar weakness. Following the decision, we'll see whether dollar weakness continues in the break of those levels. Alternatively, if the US dollar does fight back, does bounce back, possibly because the cuts already been priced in, we'll look for dollar strength to bounce up or down off those relative levels. Good trading. Keep that discipline. We've got our levels to work with. I'll see you at the end of the day.